What is going on, you guys? So, I want to discuss a couple things in history because, again, if I don't fucking do it, nobody else is going to ensure that it's accurate. So, here we go. There is a fun little post on the Reddit about the original Grawl Online website intro. And a user by the name of LW Mark 561 who claims to have a YouTube website, which I don't know, I haven't seen his channel, but he claims it's there, has quite delightfully dug up one of the old intros, which to me it's not lost media. I've seen it 1,000 times, especially digging through all the archives. But anyways, I did want to touch on this because you guys probably don't know the history. And I've got a lot more information for you. So let's just go ahead and watch this now. Okay, so there's this channel, LW Mark Grawl. And so that was the original intro. It was done in Flash. And I remember it appearing around the year 2000. And I was doing some of the web design and development for Grawl's website. Now, I did not make this intro, but I did do some of the stuff. And so anyways, we'll touch on that in just a second. If you head on over to mongers.net, where I am now logging and archiving different pieces of history that people don't know, because as many of you guys know, I did create the first pay server. I created a lot of pieces of Grawl, the largest piece of content on Grawl Classic, chunks of the tile set, all that jazz. You get the metaphor. When it comes down to the content that is in the website, some of that stuff was coming from different places. So I, anyways, am archiving a number of these items on mongers.net because since they stole a bunch of my stuff, I did the first player world, a ton of things. And I created the underground network that's now known as Grawl Reborn. People have been trying to ban and silence me, which is not hard to do. All you have to do is just steal data and then just say, hey, that guy's a liar, come look at us. So you can easily steal people's lives like they've done to mine and try to silence it. But one thing that I have that nobody else will ever have, and you'll only find it here, is the actual facts, the history, and the truth. So it doesn't matter what they say about me. You guys know that I got the truth. I've got the receipts. I've got the facts because everything I'm telling you is true. So go on over to mongers.net if you haven't already. Stop wasting your time. On the lore and history subforum, I actually updated this Grawl God history thread. Some of you might have started reading it. So that originally began with Pachuca. This is a little unrelated, but we'll get into full circle in a minute. Sorry. And the reason that this is related is because one of the original Grawl gods is kind of a lesser-known deity, is Freak. His name is Freak Plus. And so if you scroll down to the bottom here, you will see that Freak Plus is mentioned as one of the unofficial, not yet canonized deities of Grawl, but it's been there since about the year 2000. So Freak Plus goes by the name of God of Insanity. And he did that because he was following in my footsteps. So I was the God of Gravity. I outlined basically the original player outfits so that you guys know who the original Grawl gods were and what we looked like. And when I say we, I don't really mean me, because more along of what I feel is we've created a character and we put them in the game, and we're the ones who created the Grawl worlds. We're the ones who created the games and the universe that you're playing in today. And so, yeah, it was our player, but we don't really play Grawl anymore. So these are really just vintage characters that we created. So the Antago God of Gravity character that I created, it was based off my player, but then it morphed into an entire video game known as Destiny, and then it had its own sacred tower, the God of Gravity's Gravity Tower. And so that was embedded all throughout the NPCs. That is exactly what the whole point of Destiny was. It is the God of Gravity's terrain. And, Pachuca had the original southern map before this. But anyways, these were our original outfits. This is in order. I listed some of that information for you. And so this thread's been updated. I would go ahead and read through that. When it comes to Azrael, he actually wasn't really dressed in those clothes originally. He was actually, well, he was originally, but then he switched to all black with the orange skin hands, just the hands that were skin, because he was basically copying Pachuca. So when I rolled his outfit back to one of his original outfits, just so he stands out a little more, because Pachuca and Azrael basically started becoming shadows of each other. Basically it was Azrael copying Pachuca. But anyways, so that's neither here nor there, but those were the original outfits. And if you go into the bottom here, you'll see that Freak Plus is mentioned. So Freak Plus made, I guess if you include the entirety of the content of what Destiny was, Freak Plus made maybe about 1% of Destiny's content. But he did have his own player house in there, and he created the stables. So the horse stables that you see today in Southern Destiny was created by Freak Plus originally, and it's been recycled down for decades to the point that they recreated the stables. And Freak Plus's character is not in there. No, I don't think his name's really Freak Plus. I think it's probably more like just Freak or Freaked with a... I don't really know how he pronounced it. It's probably just Freaked. But he used a little plus sign at the end there because his name was Wacky. But anyways, so he started putting God of Insanity in his NPCs. Now this comes back to the intro because I do believe that Freak Plus, if I remember correctly, is the one who created this intro. I created a number of the animations on the website. Freak Plus, I believe, created this intro. And so I have another thread. And if you go into this right here, grawlonline.com, 2000 AD animations, you will find a number of, compilations of these animations. I have kind of exported some of these Swift files, the Flash Swift files, into animated GIFs. So they're very low quality, but you can, transport them to other websites. Some of the other things that were on the website, this little running animation, I did put those running animations there on the header of the website. And at the time, I did not know that the head moved up and down when he was running because, you guys, I was 13, 12 years old. So I had the body moving animated, but the head was not moving with it. And so I ended up correcting that with this image here, which ended up appearing on the message boards. So the original message boards had the animated Stefan GIF on there, which I had stuck on there as a correction to this animation. And Gallon was so lazy, he just would not update this. I was like, Gallon, that needs updated, but he wouldn't update it. But anyway, so Freak Plus, or Freaked, as I prefer to call him, owned a guild called Bushes on a Mission, which was BOAM. Now, that website is still up. Here is a archived screenshot of one of the home pages. So this is Freak's Guild at the point. And some other things that were happening at the time is Freak Plus, or Freaked, I should say. Freaked. I should stop saying Freak Plus, where people are going to start saying that. It's Freaked. So Freaked... I always call him Freak Plus because that's what I called him when I was a child. But it's Freaked with, that T noise. Freaked basically created another version of the GrawlOnline.com animation, and it was a cartoon version. Me and him were switching over into cartooning and animation. And so we had teamed up and we were working on cartoon projects. And this is a big part where they ended up really started preying on me. Like Gallon and all these other people started preying on us because at this point we started creating animations, and a lot of them are lost media. Like I had animations all over my website that you just can't find anymore. But there's a reason why my websites and games were very big at the time, because we had like little cartoon animations we were creating and nobody else could do that. But we would put them on the headers of stuff. And I also had like the most game content. So don't get me wrong. I also had all the connections. So like there's a number of reasons to why it happened. But there was a big part of the promotions, which is that we were doing animations and cartoons for a lot of just personal projects or for our own personal games and things. And we were trying to promote them. So this is one of the animations that Freaked created, which is an improved version of the original intro on growlonline.com. And so you can see the original intro. It's basically just like the logo at the time. And this was not the first version of the Grawl logo. The first version of the Grawl logo, I think it used font staccato 555. But this version of the logo, and there was a number of them, but this one came around the year 2000, which I don't love, but they ended up using that logo on there. And so you can see the character, walking in, dropping a bomb, and there's a little soldier there and standing in front of a house, and then it blows up. This is the same exact scene. So there's the soldier there and the bomb, and the same character walks in. He's got the same headset because Freaked used this headset. This was the headset that he used. But basically, I think the one that he used primarily had like the red bandana, and his outfit was like red and black. And so these default colors that you're seeing there on the body, this was from the sprites.gif original sprite sheet, which dates back to the first version of Grawl. And they were coded with that bright neon green and magenta so that the core processor, or the code behind the scenes, could essentially replace those colors with the outfit colors of your player's choosing. And so it has like this kind of gaudy look to it. Now, the original animation was kind of, you can see, kind of lazily put together, where the body's clothing wasn't even updated. It was just the generic template sprite.gif body sprites, and then it was attached to that headset. And so you got the soldier there, and the soldier's, wearing red or whatever. So when Freaked decided to remake the animation into a cartoon form, you can see that he successfully had appropriated the colors that are resonant with his actual character, his in-game character. And Freaked's character only ever appeared in Destiny. I gave him, I think, the Western map of the small part of Destiny that made it onto Grawl Classic, because Destiny was much bigger than that. But Freaked had a house way in the western side, and that's where the stables also were. And so his character was there, and it had the black and the red outfit and that headset. And so, to contrast it, you can see he changed the baddie from the red baddie to the blue baddie, but it's the exact same animation. So Freak's character walks in carrying the bomb, drops it beside the soldiers who, not paying attention, standing in front of the house. It blows up, and you got growlonline.com animation. So there was a second version of that animation. This is not lost media, it's forgotten media. This is actually available for download. If you go to my thread here, please go and grab that, because we don't want it to be lost media. I'm the one who knows where to find these things. I just know where to find these things because I remember them. And nobody else knows where to find these things because nobody else is telling the truth around here. I am the one who made the first pay server and did tons of the fucking marketing and web design and designed a lot of the original pieces of software and created the biggest chunk of Grawl Classic and the current. You guys, you're going to have to fucking get it through your head that if you're not taking these things I'm giving you, Grawl's history is gone for good. I'm the only fucking person who knows these things. It doesn't matter what they're telling you. It doesn't matter if there's 500 million people who think I'm a liar and who are silencing me and telling an alternative version of reality and trying to skip out on facts. If you guys don't download this stuff and log this stuff, it becomes lost history. I know where to find it. Now, there is additional animations that me and Freaked had created. This was Antago, God of Gravity, and Freaked, the God of Insanity. So we were doing a lot of the animations and the marketing and the games that were being created that funded the company. You guys are being told a false history right now about Grawl, so you're just going to have to forget that. But these are official animations from the same people who were making the website content that you were seeing, a lot of that in the game content and the pieces of software everybody was using. We were not employees, and so this stuff is official. It's only gotten forgotten because Unix, Matt, and Stefan started stealing things, and they don't actually own Grawl the way that they claim that they do. So this little loading animation here is the same character from the original intro that you can see up here. And Freaked had created that cartoon version of the intro animation. And this is him and my character from Destiny. You know, Antago God of Gravity had created the Destiny. We had a little loading animation with our Grawl God characters, and the same thing here where there's a little campfire thing. Now, we had been working on other cartoons that we were trying to release. We had done a ton of animations. There were these giant plays. Those are lost media, but we had these giant, well, I did. I had these giant productions. They were basically theatrical plays, which had all the admins in them. You can see logs of them in my old hard drive, but at this point, I think it may be completely lost media. But it was a massive production. So I got all the admins together. Stefan, Unix, Mad, Gandarian, Vangel. Everybody was there. Sir Triclops. Everybody was in this big, like, giant theatrical play. I wrote these stories. We did 2 of them. And they would log onto my mom's G server. And we would enact these plays. And we used those for promotionals.